Blessings. Didn't mean to do that. Hope you're feeling better. How was your day? Blessings. Like, share, invite someone else into the conversation. Holiday season is here. Some view it as regret. Some view it as excitement. Some are at limbo with exactly how they feel during this time. We'll wait a few more minutes and see if anyone else signs on. How was your day? How are you feeling? That's good. That's good. We want to do everything that we can to make sure that we stay positive no matter what is going on. My day was pretty bland, but restful, I guess. Would you call it rest?
That's the best.
It was a day. We dare not complain. I've had better. I've also had worse. Thanks for asking. We do this each year around this time. We want to do check-ins. We assume that people are okay because they're not saying that anything is wrong. But most time that's far from the truth. There are people who are experiencing some crazy emotions around this time and they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know. Hey, Angelica, thanks for joining us. They don't know how to deal with their loss. Most times it is because when you lose someone, whether it is going in the ground or whether it's a severing of ties, a lot of times we don't get a chance to really deal with those emotions because of several things. People feel like you're tough enough, you'll bounce back, or um, they don't know the right words to say, and that's more than any of them. Most people don't know the right thing to say. Um, if somebody's suffering a loss, the last question you want to hear them ask you is, "How you doing?" I just had a major loss. I'm not sure what you want me to say about that. So it can be frustrating to those who are dealing with that emotion at the time. Holiday grief um, is painful. It's painful. Many people go into a very bad portion, a dark place of depression. And so, what we want to do, what our goal is each year, is to remind you to check on somebody. Doesn't take much. You don't have to hold long conversations. Just a simple phone call, say, "Hey, you were on my mind. Just wanted you to know I'm thinking about you," or "I'm praying for you." And in the conversation, they know more than now that you said that than they did by you not calling. Hey, Keisha. Um, and so, you know, thinking that somebody is okay just because they have a smile, most people are smiling just to cover up. They don't want anybody to ask them what's wrong because they don't know how they respond if they ask, what it's going to cause them to do. So from now until the new year, we just need to keep checking in on each other. Maybe that person is strong, but it makes their day by just you calling and them knowing that somebody thought about them. Maybe they're the one that's always checking on others, and for once somebody called and checked on them, you don't have any idea what that can do for a person's morale. Um, and people, tend to think that uh, it's 5 years now, and you still there. That's the worst thing you could do to somebody. You still there. Everybody has their own way of grieving and their own time span. Now, should it still sting as it first happened? No. But depending on the solidity of your relationship, you could be grieving for a while. But again, it should not still be the sting you received when it first happened. Living each year ought to give you some time to better cope with it, not to act like it didn't happen, but to better cope with it. Not allow yourself to go into that dark place, that hole, that, back in the wall, don't want to be bothered. You get numb. You're dying in silence, because you're not talking and you're not dealing with things you're internalizing. During this time of the year, you want to go and check on somebody. You want to call and check on somebody. You want to write and check on somebody. Hey, there's so many ways to check on people without physically being in their face that there's really no excuse for us not looking after our brother, our sister. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes. Am I my sister's keeper? Yes. And always keep in mind, at least for me, how I would feel if it were me. I mean, yes, I'm in the category now where I say I want somebody. I want to know that somebody realizes the loss that I had. I want to know if somebody really took to heart what that meant to me when I lost it, whether it was relationship, whether it was truly death. It's always different. Shanae says I'm guilty for saying I'm okay, so I don't get 1,000 questions. Well, I'm not okay, but I'll be all right. I'm not okay, but I'll be all right. But avoiding questions does not help you either. It just allows you to grieve even the more in silence instead of just being able to talk about it. You don't have to have long conversations. You could just be honest and say, hey, it's not the best day for me right now, still dealing with grief or whatever, but just acknowledging what's going on in your mind because it's affecting your body and all your organs. And so you want to be able to, say, I'm not okay, but I'll be all right dealing with some things right now. There's nothing wrong with saying that. It doesn't require you to say, girl, let's sit down and talk. You don't have to do that unless you're doing it spiritually with your leaders or medically with your therapist. Those are people that you could sit down and just, unload what's going on right now for the betterment of your psyche, for the betterment of your health. So you want to not hold on to too much, if you understand what I mean. My mom, I just thought that my mom was going to live forever. I just never saw my mother as leaving here. So that in itself shook me. And I didn't have an opportunity when it first happened to really deal with my emotions because I had to deal with being strong and getting things together and doing what was necessary and handling so much business and things like that. You never really get a chance to mourn or acknowledge even that you are grieving. Tanasia says when you're so used to suppressing your emotions, it becomes more difficult to release unless you're willing to. And that's what it's really come down to, self-will. Do I want to feel better? Do I want to heal? Do I want to get over this? Do I want to better understand this so I can help somebody else? There's so many more questions that could go along with that. Suppressing your emotions is definitely not good for your body. What say you?
I agree. I didn't realize today that there was 2 people around us that it was either a birthday or the death of. Get down. One was Missionary Dominique's aunt. Birthday was today, and yesterday was the death of my spiritual mom's mother. And so I didn't realize it until I was scrolling through Facebook today, and she was saying how she misses her mom and how sad she was because this is the time of Thanksgiving, and this is the time of a birthday for Thanksgiving. And so all of those emotions are mixed up in one. And so just encouraging somebody, I just reached out to my mom and said, hey, I love you. Nothing big, nothing, like Apostle said, just to let somebody know that you're thinking about them in this time. It is also going into the time for us, for our moms. And so I don't get depressed like that. I think about it, but I don't go to that place where I'm depressed or I'm snappy or whatever. But we never take other people's feelings lightly or for granted. because you don't know the detail of why they are where they were or how close they were to that person. Some people still grieve after 10 and 12 years. It's easy for you to say, oh, you still shouldn't be grieving, but they grieve is not how you, it's how you grieve while you're grieving. So there's certain stages to grief, and all of them are different. They're not the same. We shouldn't grieve like there's no hope, or
Bible says
like
we
we
should
don't
not
know.
mourn as those who have no hope.
Yeah, so whether it's the loss of a friend, whether it's death, or whatever it is, it's still a certain type of grief that you go through, because we're in those holiday seasons and you're not going to be with that person that you're normally with for that time. So it's very important that we uplift and pray for people during this time, and spend time with them and do family things if you can, with those people, to keep their minds off of that type of death.
Yeah, like I said, my mom, I just thought she was going to live forever. I just never saw her in death.
Blessings, prophet. Blessings, everyone
But
on Apostles page.
you just, like she said, like Apostle said, you can't really determine for somebody how long they're going to grieve. My thing was, I was dating someone, and 10 years later, they were grieving. They were grieving their dad's death like it was yesterday.
Mhm.
And I mean, like, really, like, broke down, withdrawn, um, irritable, not wanting to be bothered. And I was saying to them, like, nobody can take your time of grief away, well, your grief away from you. But from 1 year to 10 years, it should not be like it just happened yesterday. What have you done to try to help yourself in the midst of this grief? Have you sought out help? If you felt like you couldn't talk to anybody spiritually, did you seek out medical help? Uh, Still not saying that you can't grieve. What I'm saying is it shouldn't seem as though he died yesterday, 10 years later. And I even tell myself that even with my mom, like, whew, like I said, in the beginning, in that first year, it was really turbulent because, again, I was not able to grieve or mourn like everybody else was doing when they got the news. My siblings, my children, their children, because business had to be taken care of and things, preparation had to be made, and so much was going on, and that's who I was at that time. And I did not cry. I did ask God. I really prayed and asked God to help me get through it. And so he did. People were wondering why I wasn't shedding a tear. Now, I did everything I could for my mother, so I didn't have any feeling of, oh my God, I wish I could have, I should have did this. I did what I could, and so I was at peace with that aspect. But I didn't get a chance to be her daughter, you know. And so it wasn't until she passed away in March. So Mother's Day was the first major holiday for me, not Easter, but Mother's Day. And that's when it hit me, and I just lost it, and thank God I had support around me when it happened, because I wasn't expecting it. It just, everybody kept saying Happy Mother's Day to me, and I just lost it because I wasn't even considering the fact that they really were saying Happy Mother's Day to me. I just kept thinking about my mom. And so it took me to a place.
You have a lot of comments on it.
It took me to a place. And I had to be brought back. Like, I was in church, like, crying out to God, like, take me now. I wasn't saying those words. I just kept saying, oh God. But the preacher realized it, and she just grabbed me and she hugged me. Next thing I know, I'm on the floor, and my daughter's in my ear saying, you can't go now. Come on back. It's not your time. It was just, that was the first time I got an opportunity to deal with the loss. And so everybody deals with it differently. It hasn't been 5 years yet, but I still miss my mom. I still have those moments when I prepare myself to call her and she's not there, because she's that one I would go to when I'm feeling like this, or how to say something when I want to do that. And so, yeah, do I miss her? Of course, of course. I don't ever want to feel like I'm losing any memory of my mom. I don't ever want to get to that place. But at the same time, I want to be able to always be at a place where I can help somebody else and not take them down any more than they already are. I love you too. I love you too, Quan. Now, my daughter, Crystal, knows she's on the wrong page. She knows she's on the wrong page. Hey, daughter. Love you too. Angelica says, my dad anniversary was on the 18th. My grandmother was the first and another grandmother on the 23rd. Wow. I've been going through it so bad, I could feel it in my chest. I think I'm okay. And then boom, mind racing, heart hurting. I kept going, never mourned. I've been numb since November 18th, 2020, but I'm working on it. Mm-hmm. And you are doing more than most just by stating it, just by getting it out up off of you is a step. Being able to acknowledge where you are, being able to see what happens. You can feel yourself going back into these things. You need to find some real good scriptures. Hope maybe we'll give you some before it's all over. Some real good scriptures that deal with peace of mind, anxiety, and disappointment. I tell people all the time, when my father died, I felt abandoned. You know, like he just left me. Like I didn't have the best relationship with my mom. My sister and I were cool, but it was always me and dad, you know, and so I felt abandoned. And those are real feelings and the emotions that come along with that. And so as we come now, especially to those of you who have lost, as Apostle said, like in this month, like right here leading up to the holiday, you thought you were going to see them through the holidays and it didn't happen. My eldest aunt passed away at the dining room table on Thanksgiving. So my cousins, I always reach out to them during that time because it's a real thing to be sitting there and you're talking to your mom and then all of a sudden you notice she's not saying nothing back. So death affects everyone differently. I don't care how tough you think you are. Whatever you do in private so that you don't have to do it in public, those things, if you're still finding yourself there, seek help. There's nothing wrong with it. We tell people, Jesus in therapy is all right with me, you know. And if it were not for that, you know, I probably wouldn't be as strong as I am in that point. I definitely would never say don't talk to your leaders because God gives us pastors after his own heart. So you should be able to talk to your leader. But if therapy is what you need, then go to therapy rather than go to another leader. You know, go to therapy, somebody who has no clue about who you are, that will allow you the freedom to just unload. You know, you'll be surprised at what things come up when you have that opportunity given to you without judgment. It fooled me, I tell you. Keisha says, I really needed this. I've been in bed all day. Been in a stuck place for some time now. Still grief. My health with all these health issues, loneliness, just stuff. And around this time of year with the holidays, it's very hard for me. I know really get anyone asking me, checking on me. I'm always that person checking on everyone else. Well, first of all, I want to say sit up on the side of the bed, change positions, to allow yourself and your mind to know that you're not giving up. Sit up on the side of the bed. If you got a chair in your room, sit in the chair, get up, sit in the chair, turn the TV on, put some nice music on, and give yourself some time to, I don't want to say, enjoy being out of bed. But dealing with grief. Grief is the AI overview lets us know that holiday grief is the intense sadness, loneliness, and emptiness that can occur during the holidays, often triggered by traditions and memories of a loved one. And that's what it is on this side for us, because we have a lot of memories. We have a lot of things, traditions that happened with us. There you go, daughter. That happened during Thanksgiving. Blessings. How are you? Holiday grief. Some people go into suicidal thoughts and some people actually try to go through with the act, and get upset about being alive when they do come back. I know that was me at one point in my life, in my younger years, upset with God because he allowed me to live, even though I was trying to leave. Keisha, dealing with your health issues, we have to be careful. Those of us who have these health conditions have to be careful with our thought process. We have to be careful with our mindset, because everything affects our organs. And while we are internalizing all of these things, and not being able to talk about them, could cause even more detriment to us health wise. And so we don't want to do that. I want to suggest to you again, sit on the side, or get up from laying down in the bed, sit up on the side of the bed, even get up and sit on the chair in the room, and just listen to some music and read a nice book. It doesn't always have to be the Bible. Read a nice book, something that will take your mind, not away, but just off a little bit, allow you some free time in that brain activity to think about something other than what grieves us at this particular moment. It's not easy to do, again, because we know that this is holiday time. We are big on holidays. Well, we were. It's been dwindling every year because the people who we were coming together for are no longer here. And that the consensus is, what's the point? And the point is that there's still other people living, and we have to continue to live. We can't die while we're grieving our loss.
If I can say this, as Apostle we were talking earlier about grief. And one of the things that I want to encourage you, or to let you know, that it is okay to accept what happened. Acceptance doesn't mean the pain disappears. It means the loss becomes part of your story instead of the whole story. Listen to your emotions. Be more stable, have more stability. Being able to look forward again. Find ways to honor the person's memory instead of wallowing in the memory. Like Keisha was saying, I've been in the bed all day. I haven't moved. Get up and move. Shower, brush your teeth, wash your face. Do something to deal with the emotions. I made a t-shirt for one of our young people, and it said, it's okay to feel all the feels, but what do you do about what you feel? So you don't just lay there and die in what you feel. It's a real feeling. We acknowledge it, but we have to move forward, or think about, how would this person really want me to be if they were still here? Would they want to see me in this condition? How would this person feel because they know that I'm here? So you have to try to get those positive memories, get those joyous memories, those things that you did. And rebuilding and restoration. It is very important. Like Apostle said, get up, renew your purpose, get a desire to live again, because part of you is dying and you don't even realize it. You might not be physically dead, but part of you is dying because you're depressed. Like a missionary Angelica said, her chest was hurting. These are all signs, and we talked about this maybe 2 weeks ago, of the organs in your body reacting or responding to what you're dealing with. So if you want to live, like me, for instance, this is the highest I think my blood pressure has been since I've had high blood pressure. And it's because I'm internalizing a lot. One thing my doctor said to me the other day was, are you trying to have a stroke, or you're on stroke level? That gave me shock therapy. Like, I ain't ready to die. I'm not ready to leave here. So unless that's your story, it sounds harsh, but it's true. We have to get up and pick ourselves up, brush ourselves off, and try to move forward. Make peace slowly. Understand that joy can still coexist with loss. So joy can still happen, but you have to understand that it's okay to grieve. But now, how are we going to get over the grieving process? Get with someone. Like Keisha said, she don't really have anybody. We have to have, I teach in our church, accountability partners. Most of all of us on here, we go to church. So there should be somebody that we're connecting with. And all the time, they might not have the words to say, but just sitting and listening to you get it off your chest means a lot. Just hear what I got to say. You don't always have to have a word for everything that I say, and I'm learning that. Sometimes the best thing to do is to just be quiet, because a lot of times we try to say, "Oh, I know how you feel, Apostle." You don't know how I feel because it wasn't your mother. You don't know how I feel because it wasn't your father. It wasn't your sister or your brother. So we have to come to terms with, this has happened. This person is no longer here, but I got to make the best out of my life because I still have to live beyond where I am. So I wanted to say that before I forgot, because, yeah.
And you said nobody's checking on you. You're always the one checking on. And most of us have that same testimony. But we have to find, just as in the word where David had to encourage himself, sometimes, unfortunately, because we're always there for other people, people tend to think that we're strong enough to deal with anything. Like, nothing like this would ever bother you. And like Apostle was saying, I tell people all the time, please, especially in death, don't ask me how you doing. Just and it's just out of habit. That's the first thing anybody ever asks you when they see that something is wrong. And the best thing you really could just do is say, I don't know what to say right now. All I want you to know is I'm here. And that does so much more than you'll ever realize, just to know that somebody is there. They don't have to say nothing else. I tell people, I say to the people that I'm talking to or we're talking to, you need to call and just cry, say that's what you're doing. You need to call and vent, say that's what I'm doing. You need to call and scream, say that's what you're doing. We're here for it. We don't always have to have something to say in response to what you're doing. You're telling us from the door what you need from us. And so the best thing we could do is give what you need. Sometimes it's just knowing that it's all right for me to feel what I'm feeling. And for so many years, most people have felt like, because of who they are, that it's not cool that they're showing that kind of vulnerability, or that kind of transparency. People need to know that you're human too. So yeah, you need to let somebody know that there's a heart in there, that you're feeling something. But at the same time, as we are here, just, I can only deal with me in this instance because of my most recent. I lost my mom, my stepsister, and my last aunt, all within a month or two of each other. And it was like, wow, it just kept on going. Anything that we had, like a whole generation, is now gone. And it's up to those of us who are still here to, make sure family still comes first and that we're here for one another. But don't expect people to do what you do, because everybody doesn't have your heart. That's the same thing I've said to my bestie. She has a heart that is just unbelievable, and I sit and I watch sometimes as she goes through, because she just takes it to heart when things are happening. But you have to realize that everybody is just not you. Everybody doesn't have a heart like you. Some people can't get beyond their own selves and their emotions and feelings. And so we have to still allow ourselves to be the best us. No. I'm sitting up on the side of the bed now. I did shower today, but even doing that was hard, but I did it.
As long as you did it and long as you got up, that's what matters. That shows a sign of life. Like, I'm up, I'm going to do this. It may be hard, but I'm going to move. That's how you conquer where you are. And you also let the enemy know, I'm not going to die here. So we're going to gather some scriptures, because we are all going through something. This is that time. This is that holiday. This is that season. This is the first year I can honestly say I ain't even excited about the holidays. Normally I'm excited. Oh, it's Christmas time. Nope. But I'm not going to let it consume me either. I think maybe because I'm older now.
I'm getting older. I'm getting wiser. Acknowledge and honor your griefs. To piggyback off of what Apostle said, allow your emotions. Give yourself permission to feel sad, anger, or any of those other emotions you have. Now, we're telling you to give yourself permission to do it, but we're not saying go overboard. Just because we're saying, go ahead, allow yourself to feel this, then you try to go off on somebody because they ticked you off and you want to justify it by saying, oh, I was just, in my feelings, or, people find ways to get back at folk. This is not that time. This is that time of year when you don't know who doesn't have, especially with this government shutdown mess going on. You don't even know who got a Thanksgiving meal. Have you called and checked on anybody and said, are you all right? What you're doing for Thanksgiving? Let them say what they plan to do. If they're going to find themselves home alone, hey, I'll bring you a plate by. You don't have to invite everyone into your personal space, but you can go and do something for them. Or maybe they need to go shopping for Thanksgiving and nobody has even called to see if they're okay to that degree. Those little things like that mean so much to other individuals, and to you it's just like, it's nothing. It's what you do all the time, but to them it's like, nobody does this for me, and I'm ever grateful. And you have no idea how that will affect their heart, which will now start to affect the other organs in the body, because there is some type of positivity now circulating through that bloodstream that lets them know that they're not out here by themselves. Create some new traditions, it says. Start new rituals. So when you consider that person, maybe y'all had a favorite meal, a dish that person prepared. Make sure that dish is at the table for Thanksgiving so that you can remember this is what so-and-so used to make, and, have laughter and jokes over things like that. It's the little things. You don't have to do a whole lot. You just want to recognize that life does go on, that it is okay to grieve. It really is okay to grieve. We just don't mourn as though we have no hope. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to acknowledge the loss. And again, it's not always somebody went to the grave. A lot of relationships end in the winter season. And so grief death is not just in the grave. It's any type of relationship. Any type of relationship that has ended, that has consisted for years. There is a grieving process. You miss that person. Who you're going to find that can handle you, because some of us are a mess. Who you going to find that'll put up with you without judging you? Who you going to find that you could talk to and not hear it again? Who you going to, all of those, it brings a whole nother set of anxiety, because you lost that person, and now what am I going to do? I just never thought that person wouldn't be in my life. So now what? And so as you are asking that question, now what? How about writing down some things that you could do, or some things that you might try to do? Journaling is an amazing therapy for all of those emotions. Journaling is amazing. And that, from a therapist point of view, it's amazing, because it's still allowing you to deal with the feelings that are deep within. And now you get to bring it up and out and onto the paper. And as you're writing, it is causing you to have emotions, which is a sign of release, letting you know that, you have reached a good point of recovery. Some people grieve. How do I want to say this politically correct? Some people grieve because they can. That's the best way. Maybe pity comes in. I don't know. I've just never been a person who loves to be sick, or loves, the negativity when it comes to health and stuff like that. And so I was always that person, bounce back, bounce back, bounce back. Well, in these latter years, it's not working in my favor, but I still get up. I'm thankful that my bestie, who also happens to be my home health aide, is somebody that I can talk to and be me, and still be respected for my title when it comes to church. There'd be no difference. We share with each other degrees, and sometimes we let each other know that we're acting a certain way, because you don't always realize it. It just comes upon you, and you don't even realize that that's where you are. Sometimes you can just seem like today is just the worst day ever, or I just don't really feel like being bothered. And when you take time to think about it, this is the same time around this same time of the year that this happened or that happened. Your body tends to respond to what's going on. They encourage us to talk to our loved ones or share favorite memories. That's something good, because you thinking about the death, which was the saddest portion, but what happened while they were alive? What kind of things did you all do that brought laughter to your heart? What kind of things did y'all do that caused you to go home that night and feel like you had a great day? It wasn't always bad. So where's the good that you can find from that relationship? Excuse me. And so that you don't have to uh, go into this dark pit, because it is very difficult to come up out of that thing if there's no fight. It is very difficult. It's a thing where you have to want to live. Um, there are many times I, you know, was hospitalized over other people's stuff. And I had to get to the point where I said, I'm not going to die trying to help somebody else live. If they don't want to get up, I have to go to that person who wants to get up out the grave. And so when you're dealing with somebody, you need to pray and ask God so you know exactly what you're dealing with. Um, I'm not saying that nobody's unworthy of your attention, but if there's nothing in you that desires to be better, then I need to go and focus on somebody who's really trying to get up out of there because they're afraid of where they are. During this holiday time, you don't want people just left alone and nobody checking on them. I'm telling you, this is the time, the highest rate of suicides. And we just don't want that to be named among our uh, chain. We want our chain to remain unbroken. We want to be able to let them know that they don't have to suffer alone. They don't have to, feel lonely. They don't have to feel like they don't have anybody. Adopt a senior. We used to do that in our younger days. Adopt a senior. Go to some of these nursing homes and rehabs. You'll be surprised how many of them have family that has never visited them there. They're just there, you know, uh, biding time. Go adopt a senior. Make their day.
You can do that.
Yeah. Make their day. Go take them a card. Go sing a song. Go, just sit there and hold their hand.
You can adopt a senior.
Make their day. Make their day. You'd be surprised. A lot of them in those kind of facilities, once they get in there, family stops. It's like a drop-off point. That's a feeling of abandonment. It leaves you feeling like a burden, and you feel hurt. There's so many emotions tied to this holiday season. Shanae says, when I think of my friend, I think of the last time we were together when I went home to visit. It puts a smile on my face. We had so much fun that day. And that's what you need to do, one line at a time. Find a memory and create some joy around it. You would be surprised at what it will do for you. It's holiday time, y'all. Check in on somebody. Last year, I gave you a charge to go check on somebody you never talked to. Check on somebody you hardly ever speak to. Just make their day. They might not say it right then, but honey, when you hang up that phone or when you close that door from ringing the doorbell, they're going to be smiling, and something's going to happen within because somebody thought about them and they just never thought it was going to be you. So you would be surprised at what you can do with just a phone call that says, hello, how are you? What you doing for the holiday? So just simple questions like that. Nothing, long and grand. Just let them know that you acknowledge that they're by themselves this year and they weren't last year. And so I would want somebody to do that for me. Prioritize self-care and set boundaries. Set realistic expectations. Understand that the holidays may not be perfect and that it is okay. Might not be perfect, but it's okay. Prioritize your needs. Listen to your body and your mind. And don't be afraid to say no to social events that feel too overwhelming. And that could happen too. That's true. People convince you to come out the house and you feel like you're not ready. And then when you get around It doesn't have to be a party or anything. It could be another family gathering, but just being around all those people and still having not dealt with grief, it can be overwhelming, and it can send you into anxiety. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Self-care matters. Self-care matters. Tend to your physical health. Get enough sleep. Eat healthy foods, which during the holidays is hardly ever. Stay active and limit alcohol intake.
Alcohol intake.
Seek support. Communicate your needs. Talk to your family and friends about what you need during the holidays.
Make sure that your family and friends.
My Lord, today. My Lord. Don't hesitate to ask for help from a loved one or a professional therapist. See, they say it too. Jesus and therapy works, I'm telling you. Find someone, ask God. Because, today, in today's world, you can't just talk to anybody. I'm telling you, back in the days when we were coming up, if you told something, it was held and people didn't hear it again. But in this day and time, you on Facebook because you shared something, it's just not the same. So I do understand the reluctancy in talking to people. But if you have any type of prayer life, trust me, ask God to show you who. In some way or form, he will do that if you will allow him. Even if it's not the person you thought it would be. I'm telling you. What else say you?
That was it. I said a lot.
Okay, so this is, let me read something I just pulled up. Coping with grief during the holidays. Talk about your grief. Don't worry about bringing anyone down. You're allowed to grieve and you're allowed to talk about it. Create boundaries with time. If you need to take time for yourself, do it. Find a way to honor them. Start a new tradition that celebrates their memory. Set realistic expectations. You will probably be sad, angry, or upset, and that's okay. Allow yourself to feel all of your feelings. Resentment and anger are normal emotions. Check in with your needs. Reach out to others. Let people know you need extra love. All right, guys. Thank you. We want to thank you for always joining in with us. But check in on somebody, guys. Not just the people you always checking in on. Check on somebody you never check on. Give yourself 3 people in the next 1.5 weeks that you're going to call and see how they're doing, or what are they doing for Thanksgiving, or if they even plan to. And then you don't have to say anything further. If they don't have anything planned, cook something for them. They don't have to know you're doing it, and just show up at their doorstep with it on that day and make their day. All right. So we're getting ready to tune off, sign off. Tune on, sign off. Right. And we will see you guys prayerfully next week as we continue to check in for the holidays. Again, we love you for meeting us. We love you for sharing with us. And we pray that the rest of your week is as wonderful as you are.
Good night, everybody. Have a blessed one. See you next week. Stop being all first.